The Caligula murders, 16. Ray stood before them, almost in as much awe and fear as before, but remained as calm as possible. "Hello again. Been a while," he said nervously. "Hello, Raymond. It has been a while. Our apologies. There are many things we must attend to as dream entities. Although this situation is now our top priority. Reality is at stake, which we're sure all of you know to some extent by now. I suppose before we begin, I ought to introduce all of us. I am Oroz. I guide our group," he introduced himself. He stood at near 8 feet tall. He then turned to the other 6. From left to right there was Urzalog, who stood at almost 9 feet, almost as tall as Nyarlathotep. He had a wide frame, seemed muscular, but you couldn't tell due to how jagged the body's features were. Spikes jutted this way and that, the same for all of them. Algus, lanky and the tallest of them all, at 11 feet, he had to crouch to fit inside the cave of the dream. Megdranas, a female of normal height and stature, standing at around 6 feet. Her hair was a stream of jagged spikes, much like the rest of her form. Arelon, a smaller being with hands that looked like lethal weapons. Ebonthorn, a snake-like form, coiled up beside its comrades. At coiled height, he was 10 feet tall, almost as tall as Algus. Dralmaris, seemingly nothing but a massive black cloak that held glowing eyes of some color, but Ray couldn't put his finger on it. After all had been introduced, Ray mustered up the courage to ask a question. "So what exactly do you plan to do to help us?" he asked. "It's going to be a long and tumultuous process, Raymond, and we cannot do it alone, you know thus. We can't leave the confines of this plane of reality for very long. I'm going to send you back with specific instructions. This will require all of you to cooperate and work together. You must follow these instructions to the letter. Understood?" Oroz asked. Ray just gave a nervous nod. Oroz nodded. "Good. Now it's time to get to work. Up you go." Raymond woke up in his bed, mildly covered in sweat. He looked around, saw Brody was fast asleep on the couch still. Ray sighed in relief. And so he began to think, and over the next hour or so, he jotted down the instructions as he received them. He hoped against hope that this would be what stopped all of this, once and for all.